These are classic bags that I've been talking to you about for the last few years, telling you that these are worth getting because they're safe bets. And I'm on a full about turn with this now, where I've completely changed my mind. Hey everyone, a lot of you watch me on here because, you know, I talk about bags a lot, and I like to share just my personal experiences as a customer of, I bought that bag and it was really good, or I bought it and it was really bad and it fell apart. Or also I'm the kind of person where sometimes a trend will really catch my eye, and I like to try and think about it a lot, and if that item plays on my mind, like the saddle bag, I know that that was a trend item, and I knew that at the time, but it was a bag that I'd really thought about, and I was in this love-hate relationship with it. I'd thought about it for months, and that's why I eventually decided to do it. But predominantly I prefer to buy things that have got a sort of more long-term look about them, so that I'm not constantly in a cycle of, I've bought a trend bag, they don't make it anymore, it now looks really dusty and it's really hard to style. Some of them can be like that, not all. And then I'm selling it in order to buy another and potentially losing money every time because it's a trend piece, so demand for it goes down. I prefer instead to buy classic things that they've been making for 20 years plus, and I know that it's a one-off purchase. I bought it, it's there, I can always go and dig it out and wear it, it's always going to look cool, it's always going to look classic but in. That's just something that I prefer to do. And some of the bags that I've been recommending to you, I've changed my mind on. The first is the classic flap, but only in the jumbo size, but it's borderline, I'm kind of changing my mind on a lot of them. The classic flap is, I think, there are 4 bags you can buy that are safe as anything when it comes to, I've bought it and I can pretty much know that in 20 years time they're still going to be making it, and my bag by that point will have worn, and I think these look even better when they're worn in, and you can always dig it out, you can hand it down to someone in the family or whatever it is that you choose to do. Those bags are, in my opinion, classic flap or the reissue, whichever is your preference, the Hermes, Birkin and the Kelly, and Lady Dior, this one back here. I've always recommended this probably over the Lady Dior. This is a bag that I use more in the mini size and also in the medium. I use it more because I quite like top handles, and also you can wear this crossbody. This I got because I just always loved it, but the reason why I am at a point where I'm suggesting that this is not such a good idea is the price. To give you an idea, here is a visual of the prices of these bags in the different sizes. I'm not looking at the reissue here, I'm looking at the classic flap. This bag in the jumbo size, the large size, when I bought this in 2016, I bought this for my birthday because I've wanted this since I was a late teenager. And I always put it off because it was expensive, and I just thought, you know, I'm going to do it because the price is only going up. I paid for this the most I'd paid for a bag at that particular time, and it was £4,500, which is horrible. There's no way it cost them to make it, but that's a whole other video. But I bought it and I use it. I don't use it as much as some other bags. Again, that's another video. It's normally because of the weight of it and stuff like that, but I like knowing that I've got it and I can go and grab it out of the cupboard, and it always works. However, this bag is now over £6,000, and that is the reason why I now don't think this is a bag that is worth buying new. That's not to say that if you want it, I don't think you should. It's just that now, if I was going to buy this bag now, I wouldn't buy it for £6,000. £4,500 was steep enough based on what you get and the quality. And at the end of it all, Hermes bags are kind of 7,000 and upwards, but it's not Hermes. It's not. I think they're trying to get to that level, but it's not. So I personally don't think now that this size at £6,000 is worth it. Even the medium size, the next one down, I think that's about 5,000. So if you're watching this and you're like, okay, great, well then what do I do? Because that it was on my list to get this. I think if you really want it, doesn't really matter what I'm saying. I'm just saying that I personally wouldn't buy this again for £6,000 because I think it's now at a point where it's really not worth it and I'd have to really love it to go and buy it. So if you want it, go and get it. The price is only going to go up. So you spend £6,000 on it now, probably in 2 years it will be £8,000 and eventually it will be 10. Can you imagine 10,000? It's not worth 10,000. Another sort of semi-classic, one I spoke about a couple of videos ago, and a lot of you know what I said about this. This is the Alma BB. Wouldn't buy this for the new price. It's not to say it's not worth it, but for me personally, I wouldn't buy it. I bought this for £650 in 2016. Prior to that, the last time I looked at it was 2014, 2015, and it was £450. So it already had taken quite a jump up to that point. This is now £1,030 currently at the time of this video. I think owning it, I wouldn't pay more than £980 for it, just because actually for what you get, it's really quite a simple bag. There's not too much going on the inside. I mean, at least with the Chanel, you've got all these cubby holes and it's really been thought about and it's quite luxurious on the inside. You know, with this, it is just one sort of open section. I did have one of you though on that last video leave a really good point, which is that, yeah, it is now £1,000, but based on what you can get for £1,000 these days from lesser brands like Prada, it's still worth it. Yeah, it is. It is, because it's still one of those brands that are, I feel, they're a little bit higher than Prada. So I think if you really want it, it is worth it. And the price is the price, that's how much it is now. But for me, having bought it and owned it, I wouldn't pay £1,000. I've got two more that were expensive enough at the time. And when I checked out how much they were earlier, I thought, again, they were expensive enough at the time, and I certainly, having owned them, I certainly would not spend the money on them again. The first is this. Love this, really, really sweet. This is the Christian, can you tell it's Christian Dior? This is the Christian Dior vanity case in the monogram. This was, how much did I pay for it? I think I paid £1,450 for it in 2019. This is now £1,600. This is creeping up in price. There's nothing fancy about this. Let me show you on the inside. There's nothing fancy at all. It's not even really lined on the inside. Although I really like it, it's not something that I would so personally speaking, I didn't buy this with the intention of traveling with it, because what happens when you travel, normally to me, is the shampoo leaks and the powder foundation cracks and all spills out inside, and then you can never really get the stains out. I always bought this with the intention of having this in my bathroom where I keep my skincare, and I know that it's not going to spill because I'm placing it all in. And yeah, in my bathroom it looks really nice. Glad I've got it, but I would certainly not pay that price. Then the final one, and in fact that one I just showed you and this next one, these are not classics by any means at all. Although if you're still after one, I would probably try and go pre-loved as well, because I feel that what with these being sort of trend pieces, and I feel that they're sort of on the decline this year. Let me know what you think. I feel like this oblique pattern was really, really in 2019, and then COVID's kind of killed it, I feel. The final is the book tote. When I bought this in 2019, and at the time, I bought it a week before the price rise was due, and there were certain bags. So normally with the price rises, there's certain bags that the price rise is applied to, and then other bags that it's not. And I was told by my SA that this was going to get a price hike on it. I had looked at it for probably a year, kept putting it off, and really it was knowing about that price rise that made me decide to do it. So this was £1,950. It's now over £2,000. The quality, just to give you an idea of the book totes, if you don't like the oblique, you can get them. They've still got the big logo across the front, and if that's a problem for you, then you're not going to like them. But You can get them with loads of really pretty patterns on them. You don't have to have this. I got this because I just happened to like this. They are a practical bag. They weigh a ton. They're really heavy when there's nothing in them. And they feel, although at the end of it all, it is a canvas shopping tote, when you, it feels quality. It feels like an expensive shopping tote, if you see what I mean. I'm glad that I paid the price that I did. I have not looked. I will probably look when I'm editing this video, but I would say that if you are interested in one of these and you're also thinking, I don't really want to go and stump up over £2,000, when for £1,000 extra, well, for £800 extra, you can get the Caro bag. And then for maybe like £1,000 on top of that, you can go, not even £1,000, you can go and get a Chanel mini for, yeah, for about £1,000 more. Let me know what you think. These are just my thoughts, my opinions. It's not to say that they are correct, and some of you might disagree, and that's fine. Some of you, maybe you can think of other bags that are sort of in that classic long-term category, but for you, they've also reached a price where you just can't, it just doesn't really stack up at the moment. It doesn't really feel like it's actually worth that value.